Good morning, everyone. It's 10:30 and we are ready for another conversation series here this morning. Today we are having a conversation on women in apprenticeship, and I'm Tamika Bell with the Office of Economic and Small Business Development. I want to go ahead and use this time to introduce to you our Assistant Director, Maribel Feliciano. Maribel, over to you.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our conversation series on women issues. Thank you, Tamika, for that introduction. We are really excited about the conversation we're going to have today in celebration of National Apprenticeship Week. And we thought, what a great opportunity to speak about the opportunities we have for women in apprenticeship. So we're going to have a conversation with series of subject matter experts. You're going to hear from different perspectives from actually the service providers, the people that are engaged in the training programs for apprentices. You're going to hear from other community partners. You are going to hear from apprentice that actually went through the program, graduated from the program, and decided to start her own company. So we have an excellent program for you today. We're really excited about the conversation, but we wanted to also invite you to our future conversation series. We started our conversation series on women issues last year. March of 2021, our county commission approved a status of women report, where they looked at various issues facing women in Broward County and challenges related to educational attainment, employment opportunities, salaries gaps, and many others. And our office, we decided, why don't we start basically closing those gaps, right? Providing training opportunities, providing information and resources for women so we can start addressing the various gaps and recommendations of those reports. So last year we had an excellent program on women returning to the workforce. As we know, after the pandemic, a lot of women were returning to the workforce. So we had some excellent program about resources to go back to the workforce, training opportunities, job opportunities, etc. We also had another session on negotiation skills for women. We know that's a skill that we can always enhance and learn some new tips and advice. So we had excellent subject matter experts that spoke about negotiation skills for women and a lot of other topics. So we want to share with you here on the slide. You can see the program for this year is going to be FY23. We're starting with the conversation series on women in apprenticeship now in November. And next year, we're going to have stories from certified women-owned businesses, the local programs that we have here in Broward County for local small businesses, women-owned businesses that have been participating in county procurement, their success stories, how they started their business, how they grew their business beyond Broward County. We're also going to talk about women in technology in May, personal branding and marketing in June, and then in September, we're going to talk about embracing diversity and social responsibility as part of your business model. So we want to invite all of you to our program in the upcoming months. And we always want to hear from you. Please email us. You can type it on the Q&A or the chat suggestions for future topics for our conversation series. Or you can email me at mfeliciano. You can see the email on the slide at broward.org. Because we, again, always want to customize our programming to your needs. And without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our moderator for today. Catherine Menes has been instrumental in developing Broward County's construction apprenticeship program, developing and implementing the program in collaboration with our economic development section in our office, and in coordination with Commissioner Geller and our Board of County Commissioners. I know she's going to talk about the program more, and she's going to be moderating our conversation today. Welcome, Catherine.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Maribel. It's a pleasure to serve as the moderator today for this Women in Apprenticeship conversation. I'd like to start by introducing our panelists. Lori Wheeler, she's lived in Broward County for more than 10 years, having grown up in Palm Beach County after her family moved to South Florida from Massachusetts and when she was a child. After high school, she attended Palm Beach State College and Florida Atlantic University. Go Owls. Prior to working with the association, the Marine Association, Lori operated the state's traffic and bicycle safety education program for the Boca Raton Police Services Department. And she served as the city's liaison to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Board. As an active member of the community, she is a member of the Greater Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors and co-chairs the Chamber Marine Advisory Council. She is a member of the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance Board of Directors also, the Tower, the Forum Board of Directors and Executive Committee. She's chair of the Yacht Tech Service Technician Apprenticeship Program, which we'll hear about today, and she sits on the Winterfest Foundation Board. She's a graduate of Leadership Broward, Class 35, we'll talk about that. And she chairs the Business Day program for current Leadership Broward enrollees. She is vice chair of the National Marine Trades Council, a member of Career Source Broward Workforce Development Board of Directors, Habitat for Humanity of Broward Board of Directors, and serves on the American Lung Association of South Florida's Turquoise Takeover Lung Force Committee. Inducted in the 2018 class of the Boys and Girls Club of Broward County, 100 Outstanding Women of Broward County, and an honoree of the 2019 Up and Comer Awards. Wow, by the South Florida Business and Wealth. Welcome, Lori. Thank you so much. What amazing accomplishments.
Thank you.
And we have with us Jasmine McWilliams. She is the owner and manager of Epiphany Electric, LLC. Jasmine has a very unique story, and I'm not going to tell it because today is going to be all about her, as well as our panelists, but she's got a lot to tell us, and I want to keep that a secret. And we have with us Isilda Humes, who serves as the Chief of Staff for the faith and community-based nonprofit organization, Gang Alternative, Inc. We'll refer to them as GA. They provide positive alternatives for the gang-like mentality that keeps indigent, negligent, violent, and dependent. This organization has been providing services and programming in the South Florida area since 2005. And presenting the offices and program sites in Broward, Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach County. It currently implements 36 programs under its 5 pillars of service, which include youth development, community uplift and partnerships, health and wellness, family strengthening, and workforce development. Its workforce development programs mainly focus on providing free occupational skills training and job placement support to disadvantaged populations, including the homeless, veterans, returning citizens, and minority women. She holds a doctorate degree also, and we'd like to welcome you, Dr. Humes. So let's begin the conversation. Are we ready? Apprenticeship, we know, provides women with the training and the skills that's needed in order to be, in order to have the skills in many of the diverse industries, including the trades. So the skilled construction trades, they provide opportunities to build careers that are both challenging and fulfilling, pay a family a sustaining, wage with benefits, and access through learn as you earn apprenticeships. These apprenticeships are known as registered apprenticeships, and they are paid employment from day one, incremental wage increases, standardized instruction, and industry recognized credentials. So I'd like to start with getting some understanding of each of your areas. Dr. Humes, I know that you all are providing carpentry as one of the trades. And Lori, the yacht service tech program. And then Jasmine, will bring you in on the end and talk about your electrical company. So let's start with you, Dr. Humes. Tell us about the carpentry.
So, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So we ventured into the world of registered apprenticeship programs a couple years ago, right before the pandemic hit. And, based on our needs assessment, based on what the labor market information was saying, carpentry was one of the disciplines in the construction of building trades that at that time was a hot job in the Tri-County area, but mainly in Broward and Dade. Since the pandemic, there has been a shift.
Mm-hmm.
The workforce is not what it was 2 or 3 years ago, and we have to recognize that. I mean, I think the data that's going to be coming out shortly is going to show a significant pivoting, skewing of data when it comes to labor market information. And it wasn't the best time for us, honestly, to venture into starting an apprenticeship program because things shut down. Construction companies were just trying to make it. We're trying to keep their contracts. We're trying to keep their deadlines. And it was a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we have now learned is that the 8,000 hours, because based on the standards under NCCR for carpentry, it's 8,000 hours, which extends to 4 years. Again, this is not the same workforce.
Right.
People are not as patient. We're all not as patient as we used to be. And so we have found that people aren't interested in doing an apprenticeship program that's going to take them 3 to 4 years to complete. There is that sense of urgency, understandably so. And so our carpentry, we always keep it real. Our carpentry apprenticeship program has not been what we designed it to be, what we expected it to be, what we hoped it to be. And I wish I could sit here and tell you otherwise. But what I can tell you is that it means that there needs to be more collective effort. There needs to be more comprehensive data, be it in the form of not only quantitative data, but also qualitative data, which means we have to be talking to people. We have to be going into communities and really talking to women about what their needs are, because we did that some years ago, but it significantly changed. So we had a lot of growing pains, and we certainly have a lot of lessons learned from that. And one of them is that it needs to take a multi-pronged approach, because as you all know, apprenticeships are employer driven.
Mm-hmm.
And since the workforce landscape has changed, we now have to revisit our approach to that, our approach to doing our awareness, our education, and our advocacy with our employer partners, and also our approach to potential candidates for apprenticeship programs on what they really need. So we've actually started that, and a part of that qualitative data collection exercise has shown that women, in particular minority women, prefer a program where the standards are 1,000 to 2,000 hours. So we're looking at a year. Well, some have even asked for 6 months, and there are some in the healthcare sector that we're actually looking at, like behavioral tech, that I believe can be 6 months to a year. And the healthcare sector is certainly one of the hot industries in South Florida. So based on our lessons learned, we're going back and revisiting our approach.
Thank you for sharing. And we'll come back to you to talk about that Wanto grant you all were very fortunate to secure a couple of years ago. Lori, what's a potential candidate look like as a yacht service tech? I know it's a new program. So
It is.
about that, orient us, please.
Yes. So we're actually going into our 4th year, even though I feel like it's our first every time. To our previous speaker, I mean, I couldn't echo. I feel like I echo half of your pains and tribulations there. Starting an apprenticeship program is not easy. But you work hard and you figure out the tweaks. You have to, I mean, you're constantly tweaking things. Obviously you have to, there's standards, there's curriculum. So you learn what works, what doesn't work. When we first did it, I have to say we kind of put ourselves into a box that we didn't realize we were putting ourselves in. So we had to adjust that. So that we could take more apprentices or from different companies, because we are the earn while you learn type thing, and you are fully employed. The way our model works is you're fully employed by one of our participating companies. Now, so the Marine Industries Association of South Florida, we're a trade organization. For those that don't know who we are basically like the Chamber of Commerce, but for recreational boating. So, our goal is to keep the industry vibrant and alive, and, we're keeping our status as the yachting capital of the world. So, the goal is to get new people. Our industry, just like most others, we're aging out. Everybody's aging out. So we need to, there's that gap. So we're trying to fill that gap again, just like everybody else is. So our program, we started 4 years ago. We actually have, we're pretty diverse, which I am pretty proud of. Our apprentices are very diverse. We have, all ends of the spectrum, which is something that I think that is pretty prideful. It says something for our industry in itself also. Our program is 2 years compared to the 4 years that you mentioned. So we're 4,000 hours that they have to complete of the on-the-job training, and then the 288 in the classroom. So it's full-time work, 40-hour, minimum a week by one of our participating companies. And that's the thing, is you have to be a member of the MISF, which is our association. And then you have to be one of our participating companies. And then those participating companies, which currently we have 20 on board right now. So we are trying to grow that so that, the more companies on board, the more opportunity we have to get more apprentices. So it's kind of a domino effect. So that's something that I'm working on right now. But ours is it's called the Yacht Service Technician Apprenticeship Program. And it's really geared for the person that's either never been in our industry or is brand new to our industry. So I guess the long answer to your question was what you need to get in. You really don't need anything. The only thing you need is attitude, good attitude, aptitude, and the willingness to learn. That's really what you need to get into our program. So, that you just have to be hireable. As long as you're hireable, and then, that's something that, maintenance is something that you can teach. You can teach that stuff. So ours, we teach anything from safety, carpentry, plumbing, welding, painting, employability, hydraulics, I'm not sure, electric, but it's all entry level. You're not going to leave here an expert plumber or an expert yacht painter, or it's just to get you the introductory exposure so that you can confidently work in a shipyard. And understand your way around things. So you do lead with a nationally accredited or nationally recognized certificate. But that's basically our program. As far as getting into it, it's just the willingness to want to learn.
Okay, you see me with this hard hat on today.
I know, I'm a little jealous of it. I was gonna go grab mine when I saw it. I have no need for it, but I gotta get fun to have on.
Got to get a pink one. But, qualified candidates are hard to find. And we're going to come back
absolutely
to talk about that. Would love to, get some experience in that, being amongst those vessels. I enjoy going to the boat show. It is always nice to see. And I actually met the 3 yacht techs at this last boat show. And just was excited because I know and understand what you all are trying to do with them. I'm going to switch over to Jasmine. As I shared with you all earlier, she's got a very unique story. She was on that side. She was an apprentice. She found I'm going to let her tell you the story. Jasmine, why don't you tell them how you got started? Tell them about ABCI. We're going to take you off of mute. Hold on one second. And then tell us about your company, Epiphany. Really like the name. Can we take her off of mute, please? Unmute yourself, Jasmine. Thank you.
I think Tamika may be able to unmute you if you're not able to unmute yourself. Tamika, can you try to unmute Jasmine? On the bottom left of your screen, you may have the mute button.
What we'll do, I'll tell you a little bit about her until she can come off mute. So she's an electrician by trade. She actually went through the Florida Department of Education, their division of career and adult education program over at ABCI Institute. And there we go. Let you tell the story, Jasmine. I'm sure you can tell it better than me.
Yeah. Yeah. How I got to ABC was I was prepping to try to get my journeyman's,
Okay.
and called them and I told them that do y'all have any journeyman preparation?
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, oh, I think you should come to the job fair or whatever. So I came to the job fair
Mm-hmm.
the next day and stuff like that, and I got a job, the same day.
Okay.
And that's how I was able to get into the apprenticeship, because I never was in an apprenticeship. I went through, technical schools and stuff like that to
Right.
learn the electrical trade. So that's how I got to ABC.
And how was that experience over at ABC? And ABC, for anybody that's on our webinar that you don't know, ABC is Association of Builders and Contractors. It's one of the largest non-union companies that are training a lot of the apprentices that you see around South Florida. Go ahead, Jasmine, and then I want to talk about how you and I met over at the Power Design Job Fair.
Okay. Yeah, the experience.
Yeah,
It was
that?
The experience. It was good. Like, I tell anybody, go ahead and sign up for ABC, because it was like a piece of cake to me.
Oh, so I can become an electrician?
Yeah, you could.
You show me
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you and I met at a job fair at the Urban League. Do you remember that day? We came out there and we wanted to see how Power Design was recruiting new apprentices. The line was down and around the corner. Do you remember that day?
I remember that, yeah.
And you handed me your business card. And I read the business card. I said, oh, wow. And I still have it here to this day. Here it is right here. This is what you gave me. And it says professional electrical services. And I was excited because I'd never met a woman electrician. So tell me a typical day. And well, first tell me what made you decide to become a state licensed electrician to start your own company.
I did it for I just did it for like the people around me and stuff like that, because it was just like,
wanted to serve as an example to your family. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah.
And that's
and the community too, like people,
I remember. So Jasmine is a graduate of Northwestern High School. I know the school very well. I know some alum from the school. And you wanted to be that example in the community, correct?
Yeah, I wanted to be that example to show them that y'all can do it too. Yeah, it's achievable. You could excel in it. It takes a few years, but it's not that hard though. It's easy.
It's easy. Okay, so what is that contraption behind you? If I put a hard on, you can show me how to do that, right?
It's a 208 pedal behind me that I did. It's this real work. This is what I did.
Okay, so tell us about some of the projects, because I want you to share it with us, because we don't know, we're clueless to this, right? So I want to be able to tell them why Commissioner Geller and former Mayor Dale Holness came up with this ordinance. I want to be able to share, you know, why they did that. So tell us actually, what's a typical day for you?
A typical day, it's you know, get up, you know, go to the job site, you know, sign in, stuff like that. You know, safety meetings and stuff like that. You know,
Safety
it's not
meetings?
hard.
Okay.
They make it. I don't know why they make it so hard, but it's
So
easy.
tell the audience about some of the jobs that you've worked on.
I worked on a few jobs, you know, residential, commercial, industrial, you know, facilities and stuff like that. One of the biggest jobs that I worked on was the, you know, the Miami World Center, the Paramount.
Okay.
Stuff. That's why I was mostly got my, you know,
Your experience, yeah.
you know, my so that's where I got it from, down there. And
Okay. I'm gonna want you to take me down to that World Center and show me, okay? Some of the things. So Dr. Humes, you know, with the carpentry, I know that you all reached out to us to help you with a letter of support for the WANTO grant. Tell the audience about the WANTO grant.
So WANTO is the Women in Non-Traditional Occupations and Women in Apprenticeships and Non-Traditional Occupations, WNTO. It's through the Department of Labor, Women's Bureau. And in 2020, we were one of 6 in the country, 6 agencies in the country to get awarded that grant. So we were very, very proud. And that grant attempts to do exactly what we're having this conversation about. It's intended to sort of be a conduit for women to get into not only apprenticeship programs and pre-apprenticeship programs, but also non-traditional occupations for which there might not be an apprenticeship program or for which women might not be interested in going the apprenticeship route. And so the way we designed that program was, you know, in a threefold way. One is providing free occupational skills training, industry recognized credential. It had a focus on construction, general construction, not just carpentry, but construction under the NCCR credential. It had a component on work readiness, which was hinged on soft skills development. And I think Lori mentioned it earlier about attitude. You will hear an employer say, you know, send me someone and I can show them how to hold a nail and drive a hammer. I can't train someone to have a good attitude.
Right.
So soft skills development is very, very important. And so we have an evidence-based software that we use to assess soft skills strengths and areas of improvement that we use as a part of our assessment program for all of our workforce development programs. So that is a component as well. There is a mentorship component. There's also a case management component, and there's also the job placement and support component for that. So we are in the tail end of that. Our enrollment goal was 50. We're at 59. We have 30 women who have completed various trainings, again, with a focus on construction trade, various trainings in non-traditional occupations. And you can go 2 routes. You can be a part of a cohort that does the NCCR training, which includes the theory as well as the hands-on. It's 6 weeks. It's Monday to Thursday, 9 to 3. We provide transportation. We provide, you know, lunch, other resources. And on Thursdays, there's the hands-on component where we go to a workshop to do the practical aspects of it. But we have also been able to support women who are not in that construction cohort, but who are also pursuing or interested in pursuing occupational skills training in non-traditional occupations. So for instance, we have several women who have started and most of whom have completed medical assistance training.
Okay.
And so we have supported them with portions of their tuitions. We've supported them with bus passes and gas cards. A lot of these women, when they're doing what they call their externship, which is the practical part of their training, it's not during normal work hours. And so we've also provided them with Lyft cards or Uber cards to support as well, because again, we're talking about women.
Exactly.
We're talking about safety issues, and we always want to be a part of that social safety net that will help to support our women in the employment world.
So that's a great lead into some of the benefits. I wanted to find out from you, or we want to know, what are some of the salary earnings and benefits, like, health insurance and home ownership. I mean, it's childcare. What's the, they say, what's the woofum? What's in it for me? And as a woman going into apprenticeship, what are the benefits for me to do that versus working a regular office?
Well, let me spin your question a little bit, if you don't mind. When we have women, we have children. That's the reality. Okay. That is the reality. We can't talk about providing certain services and not recognize that there's a difference between equality and equity. Equality being the same, equity meaning according to their needs. Men and women have unique needs, and we have to recognize that. Yeah. We have to look at when you're on a construction site and there's a porta potty and a woman is having her period. That hand sanitizer ain't gonna cut it. I need some soap and water.
That's a deep conversation. Yeah.
Right, it is a deep conversation, but those are the conversations that we're not having. We're not having the real conversations. And, as a community-based organization, we are strategically positioned to have those real conversations with women, so that when we're designing programs like the one we designed that got funded under the 1-2 grant, we're able to take the real realities of women into consideration and design a program that will meet their needs. Because then we talk about, why can't we retain women? Why can't we attract women? Why aren't they being successful? But we're not going back and really looking at what are some of those root causes? What are some of those complex barriers? We don't even look at issues such as domestic violence and the lack of shared responsibility in the home. We don't look at earning potential when a woman is in an apprenticeship program and now her earning potential is higher in these non-traditional occupations, and she goes home to a partner who feels challenged and thereby insecure. We're not having those conversations. And so we can't really talk about the full gamut of supporting women in apprenticeship and non-traditional occupations until we really go deep.
Yes, yeah. I really, really love the passion. Lori, can you chime in for us on that? I believe one of the...
I'm not sure how to follow that.
one of the yacht techs was a woman, correct?
We have two. Yeah, we had one that graduated already. And then we have one in our current class right now. Actually, she should be completed at the end of this year. Awesome. Yeah. So and I get calls. I get in there. There is definitely interest. So which is really neat. And so out of my class of 10, I'm down to 10 right now with my current class, and one of them is a female. And my other classes, yes. So and the one specific, I'm trying to think of what her role was before she graduated. But anyway, she's doing basically project management now. So she's, she went through the program and now she's doing she's a project manager at her facility. And she was fantastic. I was very impressed by her. Actually, I think we use her on a lot of our flyers and things like that, because she was a really inspirational to a lot of people. And then the other one that we have, her main job at where she works right now is she's a welder. Oh, that's her main focus. So she's in the program to learn other things, the other categories that I said, so that she has more exposure to the industry. And some of the companies, they might not, like her company, for instance, they might not do any type of yacht carpentry or anything like that. So she'll get a little bit of exposure at the class. She might not get so much on the job training for that specific category, but she'll get exposure during the class. But yeah, so she's a welder. She's very, very good. They have her building all kinds of neat stuff if they're slow, which they're not anymore, but they'll have her doing side projects, and they completely trust her, and it's really neat. And when we were doing the welding portion of our classroom training, you could see her giving pointers to some of the other people in the class, which, where they were all male, but it was really, really, really eye-opening to see. It was really cool.
Fantastic. Because I know that the on-the-job training learning component is crucial. It's a crucial part of the apprenticeship.
Yeah.
And many of the apprentices, they rely on experienced tradespeople to teach them the skills of their trade. If they're aging out, can you share whether or not the women are receiving the exact same level of training?
So to that, that's probably a little bit of a barrier, I will say. That's something that I think that needs to be worked on for sure. I do think that we've come a long way, it as a whole, for sure. I see it myself. I see business owners that are women. We have one of our biggest local shipyards is owned by 2 or 3 sisters. So, which is really neat. I mean, it's an entire shipyard and a very, very well-known one. We have another company who actually the girl that works, that is a welder, the owner of her company is a husband and wife, but so one of them is a female, and she's a really great asset and a really good cheerleader, not to use, just advocate. I should probably use that word. She's a great advocate for the program and fully supportive. And I think I forgot to mention that we are also, our program is in conjunction with ATC, which is Atlantic Technical College, and the Florida Department of Education. So our classes, our apprentices do the full-time, the OJT work at their facility, wherever that might be. And then 1 day a week, they go to Atlantic Technical College, and that's where they get the RTI, the classroom training.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm more and more getting interest from women, and I love getting those phone calls. And I'm just going to say this before I forget to say it, that if anybody on here is interested in joining the Yacht Service Technician Apprenticeship Program, I'll put the link in the chat. But all I ask, and this is for anybody that is interested, I have them send me their resume. And then what I do is I share it with all of the participating employers.
Okay.
So therefore, because sometimes as somebody that's trying to get a job, it's hard to get to the right people. Right. So
thank you.
That's where I will, more than happy to send your resume to all. I send it to all of them. I don't pick and choose. It's anybody's able. So I'll make sure my email's in the chat, as well as the link to our program, just so you can see a little bit more of it.
Appreciate that. And we have an upcoming slide too, where they can get your information. So speaking of ATC, one of the largest trainers with Broward County Public Schools, the Florida Department of Education, both of them received the proclamation on this past Tuesday at our commission meeting. So I'm going to switch now to this ordinance. The ordinance requires, I'm going to put the ordinance number in the chat after I speak to this, but the whereas clauses talk about the difficulty in filling skilled trade positions due to a shortage of qualified candidates. I know some don't come up or step up, Lori, because of the startup costs. This ordinance, because of all of the construction that's going on in Broward County, anything 5 million or more, we are wanting to work with each of the primes to ensure that they bring on at least 12% of their workforce as apprentices. Now, if we're having a problem with getting qualified candidates, we're going to hear those primes say, well, I don't have enough people to meet the requirements of the ordinance. So what do you say to that?
Well, I'm interested to read that because I was not aware of the ordinance. So I think somebody put it in the link. So I'll be, it's definitely something to look into. I think that this is definitely a challenge because, that is something that you hear on a regular basis. I cannot find workers. And I think that that's where we come in as, us trying to get more people into the industry. And, even that's challenging because it's, we're doing the outreach and looking for these people to come in, which is, kind of the point of even today. It's just trying to get, whether it's one person, whether it's 100 people that you're bringing in, it's just, it's a challenge for sure. And it's, you get the people that whether they don't want to work or they do, it's like you have two ends of the spectrum. Ones that don't really feel like working or don't, or ones that are just really just gung ho and ready to go.
Yeah.
And and our apprentices are making a good wage. And I don't know if that's part of the questions that you're going to ask, but I'm going to jump the gun here. But we have our range of apprentices. They range from $17 to up to $38 right now for our apprentices being paid per hour.
Right. I see you shaking your head, Dr. Humes. Can you come off of mute and tell us, the wage is good, $17 to $38, but the startup cost, how are they supposed to find the money? Does your grant offer funding to them if they don't have the money for the startup costs to get?
That was such an amazing question. What I was going to say, and I'm going to get to that before, was 17 to 30 something is great. Considering that McDonald's is now paying $15 an hour with a sign-on bonus, it's still a challenge. Again, it's still a challenge. Someone can say, I can go to Mickey D's and flip burgers and work a couple hours and I'll be good. Right. And so that's why I said the whole workforce has changed, and we need to pivot as well. Mm-hmm. But to go to your question about startup, so we have yet to find a federal grant that supports full-fledged entrepreneurship, right? And let me tell you my take on that. And forgive me if I offend anyone. My take on that is it's about the numbers and it's about a checkbox. Funders are able to take someone's pay stub, to run their information through work keys, work keys, and see what someone is making and check a box. Yes, we met our deliverable. But then how are we really talking about preparing our young people for the real world? And if COVID has taught us anything, is that entrepreneurship is now at a high, it's there now. Yeah. A lot of people left their jobs and said, you know what, I want to do this thing on my own. I want to work for myself. Right. But if there are not resources coming at the local, at the state, at the municipal level, at the federal level to support the real development of our workforce and the real development of our young people and our minority people, especially our women. And I have to say, I'm going to say not only women, but Black women and Latina women and immigrant Black and Latina women. It's very important. So we can't talk about really wanting to do something about what's happening in the workforce when a key component of workforce development, which is entrepreneurship, which is really where we want to go. We want to see new services and new products and new industries being built. Well, where are they going to get the money to do that?
Commercial break. I'm going to let Maribel talk to what Broward County is doing and has done for the last 7 cohorts as it relates to entrepreneurship. Maribel, you want to tell them about last night?
Of course we can. And that's not excellent points, because this is a collaborative effort, right? We need to all work together. Government, our apprenticeship programs at the local, city, state level, federal level, to address all these gaps and all these challenges. So I want to kudos to all of you for all the work that you're doing, for your passion, your commitment. Congratulations to Jasmine for being an inspiring story, right? To everybody, I'm looking at the chat and everybody's congratulating Jasmine for everything that she has accomplished to date and for being an inspiration. So thank you, Jasmine, for that. And what we have done here in Broward County, in addition to the ordinance that Catherine mentioned, where we require, this is a requirement for all construction projects that are above $5 million to have an apprenticeship component to it. That means that at least 12% of the labor hours of every construction project, maintenance project as well, is required to have that 12% labor hours dedicated to apprentices. And that is, again, a policy decision that our county commission has made to ensure that we're supporting workforce opportunities, that we have the workforce needed for our upcoming construction projects. Now we have an infrastructure bill that was approved. That's going to require additional construction companies to work with us. We have this surtax Broward that was approved for transportation projects in Broward County. We're talking about millions of dollars dedicated to construction highway construction, and infrastructure improvements. So we have the dollars for those construction projects, and we must have our local workforce ready and prepared to be able to meet those demands. So again, thanks to all of you for that. And talking about apprenticeship, Broward County also has a very active entrepreneurship program where we work with local partners and subject matter experts to basically prepare our local entrepreneurs to develop a business plan. And then for 10 weeks, it's a 10-week course. And then at the end of the course, they're able to pitch their competition, their business for seed dollars. So actually last night we had our competition and graduation, and we selected our top 3 winners that are going to be actually implementing their business or expanding their business. Our focus was technology and innovation, but this is a course that we have every year. It's completely free. And then at the end of the program, they're able to win these cash prizes. We're talking about $10,000, $7,500, and $5,000 to the top winners, but it doesn't stop there. We connect them to resources.
Right.
So they can continue to work with community partners to grow their business. And that's exactly what we're talking about here, building that network, right? That ecosystem of resources. So our apprentices like Jasmine not only complete the course, but then start their business and then have resources to grow their business, hire more women for her business, and create more jobs. So that's really our ultimate goal. And somebody on the chat spoke about the ordinance, to share the ordinance with the cities. Yes, that is exactly where we want to go, right? Lead by example and provide these policy opportunities to our cities and municipal partners so they can also do the same.
Awesome. And Jasmine, those resources are available to you also. One of the things that concerned me, panelists, Lori, Maribel, and I, Dr. Humes, Jasmine said to me the other day, I'm out. Florida's not being good to me. I'm out. I'm headed to Atlanta. So what do we do to save, our local workforce to stay here? Any answers to that?
I wish I knew the golden answer for that. Jasmine, don't go. That's the answer. I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. I mean, I think that the incentives like you guys are talking about, there has to be something out there. I wish I knew about them, but I don't. So I'm not going to pretend like I do. But one thing I will say, and it's Dr. Humes, I hear you about the McDonald's thing loud and clear. And that's the McDonald's versus industry. It's a big thing, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with working at McDonald's. Maybe that's what some people want, and that's fine. But I think one thing is super important is to educate the worker, on the growth opportunities, and you can go from. And I'm going to use just our industry as an example. You can go from painting the bottom of a boat, that's you're brand new to the industry and you're painting bottoms, and then now you're owning your own company. So there's that ladder that, you just have to educate them on the opportunities that are there and how they can grow, expose them. That's such a big thing that we find so valuable as exposure, whether it's from the middle school to high school to graduates. Is exposure, because once they see it, you can hook them.
Right.
And that's, so Jasmine, I'm sorry, I don't, and I'm going to use you as an example. Sorry to interrupt you, Kevin, but
No.
Jasmine, you're a perfect example of that. You were exposed to something and you are hooked. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what we all need to do in Jasmine, all of our industries.
Why did you choose that trade, electrical versus carpentry? What drew you to that particular trade?
Oh, in the beginning, I just wanted to know how electricity works. Then I was like, let me try to help the people around me, to give opportunities and jobs and stuff like that. Because, these job sites, you don't last on these job sites. You think you're going to last, but you don't really be lasting on the job site. So want them to last with me. So, you know, that's why I try to get the license and stuff like that, you know.
I noticed
So
that
I got it.
one of
You
our
know.
people in the chat is talking about housing. How are you managing with housing here in South Florida with your business?
Oh, housing is high, but it is what it is. I can't do nothing about that.
You sound like my
And
daughter.
Catherine, Catherine, I wanted to answer your question related to the high cost of living, right? Here
Yes.
in South Florida, and
Yes.
why some businesses and residents are choosing to move elsewhere, right? So Broward County, we do have an incentive program, economic development incentive program that we have in collaboration with the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance to not only attract new businesses from other parts of the United States, but also retain our businesses here. So we always trying to work with our local business community, chambers of commerce, the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance, to retain our businesses, in addition to, of course, attracting new businesses to Broward. So Jasmine, before you make that final decision to move, you need to call us so we can work with you to try to identify some opportunities to support you, because that's why the Office of Economic and Small Business Development is here for. We help not only entrepreneurs and workforce for, you know, workforce development programs, but also businesses that are established, that are looking to scale. We have resources for you. So please see us as a resource to connect, to be able to help you in that journey.
Great. Thank you so much, Maribel.
Catherine, can I add a little bit to what Lori was saying? Can I piggyback?
Yes,
a little bit?
definitely.
You are spot on about entrepreneurship education starting at middle school. You know, I believe it was 2 years ago, the National Association of Workforce Development, their report said that for every one guidance counselor in public schools, there were 565 students.
Right, it's right.
That's just not practical. So I know that there's some efforts, you know, in some public schools and some charter and private schools to introduce things like NEFTE, which is the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. But NEFTE, you know, can only focus so much. But if we're looking at career ladders, you know, career lattices, and really teaching people that, okay, the construction trade isn't just about, you know, carrying cement on your shoulder and about hammering something and drilling something into a wall. That might be the platform, but there's so many other things that you can do once you have that foundation. But who's really doing that kind of education? You know, if you happen to have that drive, if you happen to have been fortunate enough to go to an event where that kind of information was shared, good for you. But where is the sort of community-based coalition approach to workforce development that's looking at advocating for more ordinances like the ones you guys just spoke about? Where's that? Where's that collective effort for collective action for critical change? It can't just be one business like Lori, it can't just be one organization like GA, it can't just be one individual like Jasmine, and it certainly can't just be the county. It has to be multi-level, it has to be multi-sectoral, it has to take a multiple prongs to really looking at how are we going to be able to say to employers, you know what, we're losing good people like Jasmine. We don't want Jasmine to go to Atlanta. We need to build our talent pipeline locally. So how are you going to make sure we do that? And how are we putting pressure? And how are we saying, where are the concessions for people like Jasmine so that she can not only start her business, but have a lucrative business and grow that business so that she doesn't have to look somewhere else. She can stay home.
I love what I'm hearing. I love what I'm hearing, which is a great segue into this. We, you know, with the increased diversity amongst the unions in terms of, you know, gender and race and ethnicity, do you see a need for more women as pre-apprentices and journeymen? Jasmine, you might want to, you know, let us know what your thoughts are since you have boots on.
Yeah, I see the need for them and stuff like that. I help them out if they need the help. Preparation, stuff like that.
That I love. You know, I love that what you just said, because I wanted to ask next. Do you recognize a sisterhood that helps women stay committed to the trades? And I want to hear from all three of you. You said you'll help them out, right, Jasmine?
For me? yeah, like with preparation and stuff, if they want to, I can help them, get the license and whatever. How far they want to go, I'll take them there. But that's all I could do.
That's a big help. Sisterhood is what it's all about. How about you, Lori?
I'm gonna piggyback on what Jasmine just said, and of course, anytime I can get any type of woman in a leadership role or interested in the industry, I mean, that I think that's huge. And that goes to you need connections, you need relationships, you need the experiences, because that will change your whole world, your whole outlook. So connections are, I've learned in the past 8.5 years more than any time in my entire life that connections are the key to everything. Because I'm not saying special treatment connections. I'm just saying I keep going back to that exposure word. But the more connected you are with individuals, specifically, like people with Jasmine that have these opportunities to take in these other women, and whether she's training them or whether she's guiding them to be trained, and then maybe she's hiring them to her own business. Yeah. I think that's super important, of course.
Thank you.
I will say that GA, we are blessed to have a sisterhood with the National Association of Women in Construction, in particular the Broward branch. I can't thank them enough for the support that they've given to the women who have participated in our 1-2 program. Mm-hmm. They've invited us to events, they've done mentoring, job shadowing. They've really helped to show the women that they can be successful. You can become a business owner, and we'll guide you, we'll coach you, we'll mentor you. And that has truly, truly been a blessing for us. So yes, there is a sisterhood out there, albeit small, in terms of, well, that's construction, but in terms of the other non-traditional occupations, when it comes to women. But we really need to look at how do we embrace the fact that there's enough air for everybody to breathe, right? It's not a competition. How do we really instill that sense of sisterhood, that sense of supporting each other, pulling each other up? Yeah. And I think there's definitely an opportunity for that. I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Yeah. I encourage Broward County to look at, working with the community. It always has to be community led now. Looking at the community to help to facilitate that sort of network.
Well, I have to say kudos to Maribel for coming up with this conversation series for and about women. And it empowers me to be an example. As I shared when I met Jasmine, and even when I met Lori, she doesn't realize this, but Lori showed up at one of the meetings, the quarterly meetings that Commissioner Geller has. And when she came in, I was like, oh, I'm just empowered to see another woman amongst all the men. I'm like, I'm not alone in this, So thank you, Lori. But Maribel, did you want to speak to the conversation series again? And then we can have them do their closing remarks and then have questions come from our audience. We've got a lot of chat going on.
Yes, we have a very active audience today. Thank you, everybody, for joining our conversation. And these are the topics. This is the reason why we're having our conversation series, right? Because we want to make sure we hear from all of you and our community. What are the needs? What are the challenges? So then we can work together to address them. So we'll definitely follow up on that charge that you have provided to us to continue working together to address those challenges. We know that there's many needs and unique needs that we have as women in the workplace, and that we need to work together to, again, network and establish those connections, but also to ensure that we receive the treatment, right, and the assistance that we need. Those wraparound services that are so important for you to consider, and thank you for everything that you're doing to provide those and seek grant opportunities and all of those things. But how can we get our community, our other municipalities to also embrace in the public schools and all the various organizations, large government organizations that we have, to implement similar programs? So definitely we work together to do that. We want to share the contact of all our speakers. We have a very active chat. So I'm gonna let Catherine maybe take some of the questions and comments from the chat before we wrap up our conversation series.
Oh, okay, great. Someone said, amen, as a multi-state certified commercial general contractor since 2006 and a 100% woman-owned commercial business since 2001, we absolutely need to scream education for all minorities. They provided their bio. They are asking that, well, they're stating that, confirming that ABC is an amazing organization that we've had such success, not only in Florida, but in other states as well. Lots of kudos to Jasmine. Love that. Congratulations, it says to you, Jasmine. Someone is asking about the ordinance, and we'll make sure to send that to you. We have saved the chat. It's also sharing, Doreen says, if we can educate our local city government by providing them a copy also of the ordinance, that might be a start to what we're trying to do. Someone is asking, Jennifer said, would you like to connect on the medical assisting and other non-traditional occupations? I see you shaking your head, Dr. Humes. You want to talk to that?
No, I was just saying I just sent, because I'm not able to share more information in the chat, but I just sent my direct email as well as the email for the workforce team to Tamika. Feel free to share that. And I would love to connect with anyone who wants to help.
Great. Now this is real here. Someone says we have periods and we have children. So that the conversations are very, very important. This is amazing. Women are awesome welders. And Broward College, Cheryl Rivera is online. Great to have you, Cheryl. She says that they have a pre-apprenticeship program for non-traditional apprenticeship, information technology, which we know where we're going with that. And we definitely, they are coming up on their second cohort. Congratulations. And then Sati states that there's a construction company, Platinum General Contracting, and a restoration company called Platinum Restore. They'd love to be of assistance as well. Tracy Burtis, thank you so much for joining us online. She shared that housing is a major issue here, and many people are leaving because it's too expensive to live. The wages don't align with the cost of living. We know the Sudarsky Fund, Maribel, we had some talk about that at Broward College, and hopefully it'll come around, Tracy.
Yeah, and our commissioners have been very active on affordable housing programming and funding. So you're going to see very soon more information on millions of dollars that have been dedicated for affordable housing projects coming up in 2023. So stay tuned.
Okay, all right, fantastic. I'm just scrolling through, Maribel. It says his amazing conversation. Folk would like to be added to the mailing list for future conversations. Thank you. And Doreen mentioned that NAWIC, that Dr. Humes mentioned, is a great group. And WBENC is also, WeBank is also a good one. She shared that she'd love to put together a powerful team that we can build a grant project, a giant, she may have meant grant, to show everyone that women can be at the table. Speaking of women at the table, let me get something. I want to show y'all something. So I went to
and what Catherine is looking for that, one more Junior Achievement Pre-Apprenticeship Program also posted that they're actively seeking out young women and minorities as they're recruiting for their programs. We can see that on the chat as well.
Yes, I see. Oh, Felix is online. Great. Thank you, Felix, for sharing that.
Felix, that was going to be part of my closing, just so you know.
Okay, I'm going to let you close in a few minutes, but I wanted to share with this calendar that I got one day. I don't know if y'all can see it, but it was amazing. I went to this fair, and in this calendar, it's all women on construction projects. Can you all see it? Isn't that awesome? Talk about empowering. Jasmine, I'm gonna give you this calendar, okay?
All right.
Okay, so Maribel, can we wrap it up and let each one of them say something? That we may even have some people that might want to say something. If you want to say something that's, if you're online, you may want to raise your hand, and Ms. Bell is monitoring everybody online. So with that, I'm going to select Lori first, if you'd like to have some closing remarks.
All right. So the one thing I just wanted to say, as far as, we talked about recruiting and things like that, and getting more people, specifically women, into our constructions or the trades or things like that. One thing that our association has done is we've created a Salty Jobs video series, and it's basically aimed towards middle school and high school students that showcases different jobs that are available in the industry. And you can find it on YouTube, but it's the whole sole purpose is to let you know that, a lot of people will think, and I'm sure to the point of the construction, people think you're carrying cement or whatever. There are so many jobs in the construction industry, just like there are in the marine industry. It's not just, you're not just a captain, you're not just a crew member, but there are a slew, everything from IT, even we're talking about the IT program at Broward College. Everything ties in to all these industries. But that's specifically geared to show you. And actually, many of our hosts are actually women. They're young girls that are hosts. So that and that is strategic. That is so that we can send the message that yes, girls can do this too. It's not just for boys, it's for girls also. We work super close with the middle schools, the high schools, we adopt schools, speaking engagements. That is just huge, to youth organizations for underserved communities as well. To Felix's point, we are working with Junior Achievement for a pre-apprenticeship program that helps lead into and flow into our yacht service technician apprenticeship program. And I know he's also doing the construction side as well. But that's something that we're trying to, recruit for as well. There are so many things that you can do to just spread a message, and it can be as easy as social media or, getting in front of those brace advisors. That's another thing. The guidance counselors, that was something that was brought up. And that's something that we find extremely important. We get in front of the teachers, not only just the students, but we get in front of the teachers, and then in front of the counselors or brace advisors. Super important, I think, is not only going to them, but bringing them to you. And I wouldn't bring them to my office, but actually we do. We bring them and we do a speaking panel, and then we'll take them out on a boat ride, show them the working industry. And then once they see it, that's when the hook really gets put in. As you see, just like at the boat show, I know it's not like a working environment, but you're hooked once you see stuff like that. And so anyway, that's just, what's that?
They will be what they see.
Right, exactly. You can, once you see it, you're hooked. So, and then the last thing I'll say, is get out of your comfort zone. That is one thing that has been a challenge for me, but has also been my biggest achievement, because getting out of my comfort zone has allowed me to grow. If I stayed in my comfort zone, I would still be the person I was 8 years ago that, was assistant to my boss. But now I'm vice president of our association. So that's my point is get out of your comfort zone. I'm not trying to, brag by any means, but it's so important. You get out of your comfort zone and you will find something that you will like, and you might find a new passion in something, or, just if you don't do it, if you don't experience it, you'll never know. So just be your authentic self, but get out of your comfort zone. I just want to make that my ending statement.
Excellent. I'm hearing you loud and clear. Jasmine, I see Maribel. Jasmine, you have some closing remarks for us?
All I can say is open your mind up to new opportunities, and just be thankful for where you at today, and never give up on on yourself. Keep going. That's all I can say.
Inspiring. Thank you, Jasmine.
Excellent. Dr. Humes?
Yes, my closing remarks, we need partnerships. We need partnerships. We need employer partnerships. We need individuals who have walked this walk, who are willing to share, like Jasmine, and thank you so much, Jasmine. We'll certainly be having the team reach out to you.
Yeah.
You know, and let me list 3 things that we certainly could benefit from partnerships. One is, as a part of our 1-2 grant, by the end of this month, I believe we should have the draft from the consultant. We're creating guidelines on recruiting and retaining women in non-traditional occupations and apprenticeship programs. And we would love for, you know, again, you know, women who walk this walk, who are in this, you know, part of this journey, to serve as reviewers for us. We'd love to send the draft to you so that you review it, so that we can strengthen it before we launch it. The second thing, we are hoping as a culmination for a 1-2 program in the spring to have a hiring event for women in non-traditional occupations and apprenticeship programs. And we would love the support of whether it's the county, whether it's employers, to, you know, to be a part of this hiring event, again, just for women and focusing on non-traditional occupations and apprenticeship programs. We're hoping to have that definitely before the end of March. So we welcome that. And the third thing is we were blessed that we got another grant from the Department of Labor, the Women's Bureau. But this grant is focusing on educating women about employment rights and benefits. Katrin, you were asking earlier about health benefits, you know, about salaries, about different things. And a lot of our minority women, and in particular immigrant women, don't know what their rights are. They don't know what their wages are supposed to be. They don't know what labor market information is. You know, they don't know what benefits are supposed to come with that full-time job. And so we have a 2-year grant that is going to be implemented in the Tri-County area. And we really would love the support of Broward County and our other partners in helping us to convene those conversations, those community-based dialogues with women. We are partnering with a law firm that has been very good to us over the years, who will serve to facilitate those sessions. And we're also going to be looking for individuals who we can train as trainers, because again, it's all about sustainability. Right. When a grant closes off, the work shouldn't stop. Mm-hmm. And so we are looking for individuals who are willing to be trained in being able to go out into the community and talk about employment benefits, talk about your rights, help you with the benefit calculator and all that. So please feel free to reach out to me. The email address that you can send an email to me is workforce@myga, that's M as in Monday, Y as in yellow, gangalternative.org.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Mayor Bell, would you like Tamika to see if there were anybody that wants to ask a question live?
So we don't have any other questions on the chat or the Q&A. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for joining us today. Thank all the participants that join us as well as part of the conversation series. And the answer to Dr. Hume's challenge is yes, yes, yes. Count on Broward County to work with you, getting this information out to our community, and you know, being part of those focus groups and addressing those challenges that we're facing. It's employment, it's workforce development, it's economic development, keeping here the businesses that have been, you know, established for many, many years as well. So yes, count on our collaboration. And I told everybody that joined us for this conversation series, you were going to love it. Our conversation series are very inspiring, exciting, and it really makes you think about not only the opportunities that we have for women here in Broward County, but what are we doing to work on the challenges that you're facing? And then you hear from our wonderful panelists, what can you do to continue to grow, right, as part of your journey? And again, networking, connecting to those resources, to opportunities. Very important that you establish those relationships and that you connect to the resources that are available to you. There are a lot of free resources. Let me say that again, free resources available to all of you to connect to training, workforce development opportunities, And again, connect with the panelists that we had today and entrepreneurs. Thank you all for joining us today. Here you can see how to subscribe to our Business Assistance Weekly. It's an electronic newsletter that goes out every Wednesday evening. We promote a lot of our events, business development workshops, entrepreneur workshops, job fairs, solicitations in the county if you want to start doing business with the county, and more. Next slide, please. And here is our information to connect with the Office of Economic and Small Business Development, our website. We have a construction apprenticeship website as well, with a lot of resources and information. Some of what we discussed today, please visit our website so you can see the construction apprenticeship programs that we have. Broward is hiring. Broward County has over 100 vacancies at this time. You go to this website and you'll be able to see the hundreds of vacancies that we have in the county, over 60 county agencies. We are responsible for the airport, the port, park system, libraries. If you're looking for a job, this is the website. Please go to our website for work, job opportunities. And here's our contact information. Again, thank you to all our panelists for joining us today. Thank you, Catherine, for doing an amazing job moderating our panel. Tamika for coordinating our conversation series today. And we're looking forward to seeing you on our next conversation series.